aspects that I love and aspects that I don't, and I throw the whole thing out. It's like be willing to say no to all the aspects you don't want.
One of the things that I've always wanted to do was make and formulate cosmetics, and I seem to do everything around that. Right now, what I do is I write books about hair and beauty for women, and surprisingly, I was surprised that one of them did very, very well. And right now, I'm in France, and I'm studying cosmetic formulation, specifically polymer science and things like that. But it's not. I feel like I'm always chasing something, and I feel like that it's either the timing is not right, or I'm chasing these other things because I'm truly not comfortable or afraid to go ahead and try to do the cosmetics. And so I hear what you're saying about you do that one thing, but cosmetics requires, in my opinion, an investment, a financial investment, and you. So but
So how do I get it? How do I do one thing without doing the end, like investing loads and being really, really all in?
right.
Yeah. So that's a logistical question. I go on principle that it's always possible. You just have to sometimes get creative. I happen to know a bit about this because my wife had a hobby interest in this, and she has a whole bunch of drawers full of stuff, and she's taken a course, and she's made stuff, and she's given it to friends. And so I know that on some level you could create something and you could give it to someone. Is that true?
Yes, I guess the hesitancy is, it doesn't. It's not. I've been giving away. I feel like I've been giving away things all my life. And
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not fulfilling anymore. I want something back. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but it's my truth right now.
Cool. So you've been giving away things your whole life, or you've been giving away cosmetics your whole life? It's like-
In not cosmetics, but in the form of beauty. For example, when I
Right.
write these hair books, and I got literally thousands of questions,
Right.
and either I did a commonly asked question type of thing.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I would answer questions, and also I was not. Right now, there's a movement for, especially for women of with Afro textured hair like mine. There's a movement on. In the world, like on YouTube, and my point in bringing that up is that I wrote this book years ago, and then
Yeah.
people read the book and took the information
Put
and
up on
talked about it
YouTube.
and then they would go on Amazon and say, well, this stuff is already on YouTube. She just copied.
Right.
So I'm saying I gave, and I felt like
Yeah.
I kind of
And you didn't receive.
and I felt like not only did I did not receive, I was condemned for copying when I was the one who
Sure.
originated the information.
There's so many places to go here. It's tempting, but I'm going to stay with your original question.
No, just go with
Yeah,
what
no,
you
I'm
did.
going. Don't worry. Keep the mic. Keep bring it back in. Yeah. So, how many times have you asked people to pay you for cosmetics?
Never, because what I've done is I would do a formula, and I put it on YouTube or put it somewhere that was free. So I never asked anyone to pay
Right.
for it.
So there's two types of givers in the world. There's givers that are wealthy and givers that are broke. I'm just going to make that up. Like there's no continuum. It's one or the other, right? As if that's true. Let's pretend for a second. And the difference I see is that the people who give, and they never receive anything in return, money, they don't ask for money. Sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to be broke, but it's typical if you're not asking for money to not get money because people will give back another way. Like the reciprocity will work itself out, but it just might not be fiscal. You'll get hugs, you get pats on the back, you'll be like, she's great, I love the product, da-da-da-da. But it takes a while. You at least got to put like a PayPal button up on your site, send me donations. Is there even one of those?
Well,
Is there?
Let me clarify. No, there's
Okay.
no PayPal button, and no, I don't even have a site anymore. But when
Yeah.
I wrote this book has enabled me. I live in France right now, and it's enabled me to live in France. So it's not like
The
I didn't
book's
do-
making you money.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, the book was quite successful.
But the
So
cosmetics aren't making you money yet.
I haven't done anything with them except
Right.
for just put a recipe out. And
So I don't want to give away my cosmetics because I'm sick of giving stuff away for free and not getting anything back. But I'm not. But you aren't even asking to get anything for it.
no.
So my challenge to you would be, ask people to pay you for cosmetics and see what happens.
Okay.
But then, but what?
It just doesn't resonate with what you said. I'm like, okay, all right, but
What doesn't resonate?
what you just said,
Wait,
ask
you don't
people to-
resonate with me, or what I said doesn't resonate
Oh,
with what I
no,
said
I
before?
resonate with you in general. I'm just talking about what you just said. What you said just now. You said, make the cosmetics
And ask people to pay you for
Yeah,
them.
it doesn't feel right.
Because?
I don't know. I'm just being honest with you. It just doesn't feel right. I'm like, I'm not really interested in that.
Oh, you're not interested in it. That's fine.
No, I, no, I'm not saying what you're saying. I can't explain. That's why I didn't want to ask this question.
I know, but I'm glad you did. But let's all create a safe space for you to have a conversation by not jumping in right now, because you guys are going to have great ideas, but I know when you're in the room and there's lots of people saying stuff at you, it can get a little bit distracting and it starts to feel like more pressure. So let's have this dialogue just for a little bit longer, just to see what we can come up with and
Okay.
create. Say your name again?
It's Adrian.
Adrian, yeah. Do you love making cosmetics?
I don't know.
Would you love to find out?
Yes,
Okay. Would you love to make money from cosmetics?
absolutely.
Cool. So when I challenge you to ask people to pay you for cosmetics, what happens?
And then I think about I got to set up a website. I'm not technical. When I tried to do it, it didn't come out right.
Okay.
I think about I've got to find a place that's going to manufacture, and I don't want to do that because the people that do that, they keep your formula, and then they repackage it and give it to someone else. So all these things I'm thinking about because I've
Yeah.
investigated many of these things.
Right. So what if that wasn't true, that you had to do those things? What if there was another way?
I would feel good that I've created something from my hands, from nothing, and something from me that I can give to women to help them feel beautiful and help them to better contribute. Because when you feel good, you do better.
Right. So what if it were true that you could do it that way? What if you could make something with your own hands, give it to women, and they could pay you for it?
That would feel good.
Is it possible that that's possible?
Yes, because I see women. I know a lot of women, or like on the internet, and that I interact with, and they've done that. And I'm like, what's
Right.
holding me back? What am I doing?
Good question. And I think what's holding you back is this belief that you have to do that. You can't do it that way. You have to do it some other way. You talked about, I need a website and all this crap that I don't want. Remember I talked about earlier with Joe, there's like
Right.
aspects that I love and aspects that I don't, and I throw the whole thing out. It's like, be willing to say no to all the aspects you don't want. I've cut everything out of my life that I could possibly think of that I don't want. I don't do social media updates. I don't do scheduling. I don't do the financial, nothing. I have people that I've hired for that, or I just say I don't do that anymore. And it's like, be relentless with it. My way or the highway. I make the cosmetics with my hands. I sell them to women who I've connected with that I want to sell them to for the price that I want. And that's it. That's the way I do it. And I bet if you were willing to do it only your way, that'd be the best damn cosmetics they could possibly be, and women would love them.
Well, now that resonates with me because the way I wrote this book, I wanted to. It's self-published. I didn't want to deal with anybody else. I didn't want to deal with the publisher, and I did it my way. And it took a while. It took about 10 years for the technology to be available for me to utilize the processes that are currently in place to have the success. So therefore, that's why I'm saying it resonates with me because for that book, I just did it my way. I said, I don't care if it doesn't sell, I'm going to write this book. And a lot of women bought the book. And so what you're saying now, you've taken what I did with the book.
Do it here.
And you saying
your
to
truth.
change it and do it the same way with the cosmetics.
Yeah, do your cosmetics the way you did the book. Well said. That's your truth. Tell me, I'm just curious now, why did you write the book?
I wrote the book because women with Afro-textured hair, women of African descent, did not have a lot of information. And when you would get a book, you could get a 25 or 100-page book, and there were two things that were always stated. The first thing was stated that women with Afro-textured hair, that hair did not grow, which is not a truth. And the second thing that was stated was that when you have Afro-textured hair like this, you need to put a chemical on it for it to be presentable. And that was not a truth. And that was what I found. I found that offensive. And so, therefore, I said, I'm going to go ahead and write what is the truth, because I know from my own experience and from giving other people advice who had hair that was very short and grew it down their back, that I know what the truth is, I know how to do the process, and that's what I did.
And if you created these products, would you be creating them to help women with Afro texture hair?
Yes, I would.
Are
Yes,
you
I
willing
would.
to do it for the same reason? To help women in the same way?
Yes, and the hesitancy again is that there are a lot of products out there now that already, so I'm not really sure if what I have to offer, what I'm thinking I have to offer is something that is needed. I'm not sure if there's space, and my mother's always saying to me, there's always space for something good.
But this is a good point, because you're not the only one in this room that thinks, is my thing needed? Is my thing needed? Are people going to like it? Is there space for me in it? What if it's not our job to decide that? What if the fact that your heart sees women with this hair and this misinformation, and your heart says, serve and give and do this, and one time you followed it and it worked, and now it's trying to come through you again in a different form, and you're like, well, I'm not sure there's space, bottleneck.
No, well, that's true. I'm just being honest, though.
I know you are. I love that. It's when you're honest that you get to see the most, right? Okay. Thank you.
But we can continue.
Yeah. Do we need to? Or are you ready to? Because what do we see right here? What do you see right here? What's most true for you right now?
I have this feeling of I'm in a valley, and I think that there's always value in the valley, but I still have that but. I'm just hesitant, you know.
But what?
About what?
No, but what?
I'm just hesitant. I'm like, ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to make cosmetics. So this is not something, I do everything else, it seems, in order to get to the cosmetics, and I seem to never get there.
Yeah, you want to make the cosmetics, you want to help women, you want to get paid for them.
Right.
But deep down, if I'm honest, I'm a little bit scared that.
That I will fail miserably.
Yeah. Anybody else in this room afraid of that? Are you willing to accept the possibility that you may succeed?
Yes.
So you're willing to accept the possibility that you may succeed.
Yes.
Hold that thought for a second. Let me explain something. So there's two paths that we could live in life. I call them, one path I call the path of probability. And I'm living the path of probability. My life works like this. There's some obstacle or there's some opportunity. Is it more probable than not that I could succeed if I do that? Yes, it is. Therefore, I'll take a step. More probable? I was right. I succeeded. Is it more probable than not that if I do that, I'll succeed? No? Okay, then I'm not going to do it. Is it more probable than not on this next thing that's just come up that I'll succeed if I do it? Yes, it is. Okay, I'll try. Oh, that didn't work out that time. How about that one? Is it more probable than not? If I do that, I'll succeed. Yes, it is. Okay, I'll do that. And actually, more times than not, because if we're good at judging probability, we're educated, we've had experiences, we can succeed more than we fail along the path of probability, and we can create success. But the thing is that entire path is a path based on an ability to estimate the probability of success. There's another path that we've completely ignored because we've been oriented all around probability analysis before decision. The other path is a path of possibility. This path, you don't know whether or not it's probable that you'll succeed. All you know is that it's possible. And if you take a step on the path of possibility, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't even have a sense. You just think it's at least possible. I don't even know if it's probable, but maybe. If you take a step, you may succeed, you may fail. You don't know. And on a one-to-one analysis, it's more probable to succeed on the path of probability than one of possibility. Probably. So it makes more sense to take this. But the thing is, we're making a one-to-one comparison. That's a distraction because we don't live one-to-one. We live on the whole path. That's our life. And so if we live on this path of possibility and we do things not because they're probable but because they're possible, then what happens is sometimes things that are possible work out. And the things that are possible and not probable are often things that are so extraordinarily different and amazing to us They're things that are incredible. Things that are probable are things that you're credible. You have credibility. You could do that. Something that's incredible, that's amazing, is actually something where you are not credible. You don't have the credibility. It's not probable. That's what makes the path of possibility yield incredible things, is because you did something without awareness of probability. You did it anyway, it worked out, and then it happened. So the point of me saying all this is really to invite you to consider whether or not you want to live on a path of probability or a path of possibility. Let's do this from the deathbed perspective. Imagine you're on your deathbed looking back at all the years from today till then. Hopefully it's 100 years in the future, yeah? And you're looking back in your life. Which would you have rather walked? The path where you only did where you had a high likeliness of succeeding, or you did things because deep down you thought, it's at least possible and I know I'm being called to this?
Can I answer that in a different way?
Well, you haven't answered it anyway, so yeah.
Well, I've already lived that, meaning that...
Oh, no, I'm talking about now, though, going forward. From here. I know you've done it in the past.
What I was saying was that I was confronted with that. I thought I didn't have time
To
live. I thought I had a situation where I thought I had a diagnosis, and thank God it was a misdiagnosis. And so that's why I came to France. So I'm saying to you, I've looked at things and said, if I didn't have time, what would I do?
Right.
And so I did that by going to France.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of flying free there.
Cool.
And but I guess the obvious answer would be yes. Of course, I want to. In retrospect, looking back at my life, I would say I want to be on the path of a possibility. I mean, yeah.
Of course. You want that. That's what's most important. I think that's an important point, too, to stand on here. It's like what matters at the end when we look back isn't what we ended up. It's did we walk the path of possibility, because really it's about finding out who we are. It's about closing that gap. Did I walk in the direction that's going to help me close that gap? It doesn't really matter what happens. It's did I actually find out who I am, what I'm capable of, what my potential is, what my capacity is. Did I do that? That's what we really care about at the end. And you know that because you just experienced it for real, and that's why you're here in Europe. So, look, all of this stuff, all it does is it starts to make you go like this, like, no, okay, there's nowhere else left to look. It doesn't make the fear go away all the time. Questions like, am I willing to only give? That will serve as well. But at the end of the day, I call it white path and black path with fear, right? White path is like questions and ways of thinking that create fearlessness so you can be free to just move forward. Black path is like the typical feel the fear and do it anyway, lean into the edge. There's only so long that you can, you know it, you're nodding. There's only so long you can pretend that there's anything else for you to do. We can strip away the pieces that you don't like. You know, there's gold caked in all fear. Like, there's like, no, I don't want to do that. Or, you know, it's like, well, good, then get rid of those aspects. But at the end of the day, like, what do you know is most true now, having had this conversation? What do you know is most true for you now?
I know that if I'm on my deathbed and I don't try to do the cosmetic thing, that I'm going to be disappointed.
Fuck yes. That's all I care about. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I say that's all I care about because I'm a coach. My job is not to change you or to make you do anything or to make you say it, I'm going to commit to this. I hate that shit. My job is only to give you a different way of seeing the world and give you a new choice. And what you decide to do, where you go out from here, that's you, and that's beautiful. And so thank you for going with me as far as you did on that. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click the button, and also share with your friends. Share the love. Tweet it, Facebook it, Google Plus it, LinkedIn it, whatever you do, get it out there. And of course, if you really want to engage in this idea, down below in the comments, the discussion, the dialogue is where the best insights come. Challenge me, ask me questions, I will get back to you. Your ideas, your comments help me to create more videos. Finally, if you're interested in learning all about what I do, my personal coaching for leaders, artists, musicians, sole proprietors, anybody who's a creative force in the world and creating their own things, check out my website. Also, if you're a coach and you want to learn more about my apprenticeship or learn more about how I create coaching clients, check out my website, link down below. Much love.